Story 1. Honestly, death doesn't scare me. It's the dying part that I worry about. I hope life is kind and I go in my sleep at an old age, with all my faculties still intact. Story 2. Life is all I've ever known. The fact that one day it will end and I'll just cease to exist for eternity is something I just can't wrap my head around. And also the fact that I'll have to leave everything in this life behind when I leave. Story 3. I'm afraid I won't get the chance to express how much people mean to me. What if I don't get to say the things I wish I had? So, I'm saying it now. I love you, Mom. Story 4. How easy it would be. For someone who deals with depression pretty severely, it scares me at how easy it could be sometimes to just end it all. I'm doing better now and have so many people surrounding me that love and support me. But at one time, I felt it would be better to just be gone forever. Your mind is a scary place. Story 5. Sounds silly, but I've always been scared of death being a conscious experience. That it's suddenly just black, and I feel and see nothing, but I'm just somehow still aware and just trapped in nothingness forever. But when I think about it more, it becomes harder to conceptualize because, well, I will cease to exist and there's no way to consciously experience that. I remember a comment from long ago that helped my idea of it. What's death like? It will be like how it was before you were born. Nothing. Story 6. The possibility of no longer being in the company of those that I love, the people that I have developed strong bonds and unwavering love for. I believe this is the purpose of this life, to recognize unconditional love, and the bonds that our soul, our being, has made with other beings, our ability to be kind and to empathize with the struggles of others. When we complete this life and move on to the next, we will not be concerned about how much wealth we accumulated, how many homes we owned, or how many sports cars we had, but how many people we showed our love for and how many showed us that same love back. Story 7. My husband died and came back. He says the lead up to the dying part was terrible due to a car wreck, but once he let go and accepted he was going to die, it was very peaceful. He said he suddenly got very warm and everything faded to black. Then, his life rapidly flashed by, including things that hadn't happened yet. One of the things he saw was his marriage to me and our daughter. Then that passed, and he was sort of falling through a black, vibrating void of nothingness. But he says it was peaceful there, not scary. Then the emergency responders brought him back. He said that was a massively unpleasant shock, and he was furious about it. He said he was swearing at the first responders and his family because he was so mad about being brought back. So, at least according to my husband, death is preferable to being alive. I still don't want to die and leave the people I love, but it helps to know the actual experience of it will probably be peaceful once it happens. Story 8. I don't want to stop existing. I don't want to lose all my memories, all my experiences, and just simply not exist. Like how there's kind of just no consciousness or nothing when you're in something like a deep sleep, but just forever. Story 9. When I was less than 30 years old, death was a scary topic and a taboo topic for me. The unknown is what scared me. The religious perspective confused me. Now that I am older, I am starting to become more relaxed and more aligned with the idea of death. Story 10. My kids are living without me even as adults. It's not that I think they can't. I just miss my mom every day and hate to think of them feeling this way. Story 11. Probably the manner in which I die. I know I am going to die one day, but I hope my death is painless and quick. Dying peacefully of old age in my sleep is the best case scenario. The other thing that scares me is dying before my mom does. It would break her. I am not looking forward to her death either, but I am her child, so she should die before me. Story 12. I died 3 times in 2 years. Each time I was in a coma from 7 to 9 days. What bothered me most each time is being told that I was resuscitated. And not one single time did I see a bright light, a sense of calm, levitate, or see loved ones. It was simply lights out. If I had known that, I wouldn't have been so guided by my conscience my whole life. Story 13. My mother has been dead a couple of times. Once from an aortic dissection aneurysm when she had to undergo complex heart surgery that she wasn't supposed to survive. They took her heart out while she was cooled off. Then, when the surgery was done, they essentially pumped her blood through a warming machine like being warmed up in a microwave. The other time was this last winter when her kidneys shut down due to congestive heart failure and kidney failure, and she became septic. The woman is a miracle. Anyway, both times she said she didn't see anything, but she did feel comfort and peace and like people she loved and had lost, such as her grandfather and mother, were near her. Just a warm and peaceful feeling overall, but still not quite existing. She said it definitely was a wonderful feeling for her and told us to stop bringing her back. Story 14. It is just a part of life, nothing to be afraid of as long as you are right with the Maker. I am not in a hurry to die, but I am prepared to go if it sneaks up on me. Story 15. That it is long, painful, drawn out. If it happens so fast I do not see it coming, I do not care. I will not know I am dead. Spending weeks, months, years deteriorating scares me. Story 16. How long the actual dying can take varies greatly. A stroke like my mom had can take years, or a slow but untreatable sickness might linger. My dad sat down to put on his socks and was gone instantly. That is my goal. Story 17. The thought of lying on my deathbed, closing my eyes, then waking up and realizing that my entire life was actually a dream. My family, my house, my dog weren't real. Then I get shocked again that I am actually late for my first day of 9th grade. Story 18. The idea of reincarnating. I've gone through this whole life, and now you want me to do it again? Please, just let me rest or no longer exist. Just don't make me do this whole living thing again. Yes, it's really fun, but it also sucks sometimes. Story 19. Nothing about actually being dead terrifies me. Getting to that point is a scary thought, though. Hoping it won't be after years of decline and discomfort, and that the final days and hours won't be painful with a loss of dignity. Once I'm gone, I will have no more worries because there won't be a me to worry anymore. I've witnessed many deaths, and I think in the final few minutes, at least, it's pretty peaceful, generally speaking. I do wish we had a longer lifespan, more years where we're healthy. I love being alive in the world, and I'm sad to know there's only 20 or, if I'm very lucky, 30 years left. I know how fast that goes and that my abilities will decline. I worry that my loved ones will be sad when I die, and I hope they won't spend too much time grieving but live their best lives, which will also be over in due course. The whole non-existence thing is only an issue because I do currently exist and can't completely wrap my head around everything just stopping, but I do believe that's what happens when we die. We become the raw materials that constituted our physical bodies. It's the circle of life, but it's way too short. Story 20. Becoming decrepit. The last 5 years of my mother's life were really not fun. The last 2 months of my dad's life were spent in and out, mostly of hospitals. My stepmother spent 10 years getting hollowed out by cancer. I would fear death almost not at all if I knew it would happen all at once. Story 21. This question affects me daily, as I have fought severe depression since the beginning of COVID-19. Before I had a child, I didn't have a care in the world, but all of a sudden, I worry about my own mortality at the age of 38, for crying out loud. What terrifies me the most is, once you're dead, that is it. Nothing after that. Your consciousness is gone. Everything is forgotten. You no longer exist. You'll never see or speak to your friends or loved ones again. It has partly defeated me. I wonder why bother? Why give a crap to save money, stay in shape, be kind, be a good dad, work hard if I don't get to see how it plays out after I'm gone? I would love to think that there is something after death. To be able to watch my family grow up, look back on my life, celebrate it with those around me who are also deceased. As if life was worth something and we get to reap the rewards of doing one of the hardest things to do, live. Story 22. The nothing about death is what scares me most. People say it's like it was before you were born. I have no concept of what it was before I was born besides nothing. Life, though, even as hard as it gets sometimes, brings so much joy and endless possibilities. Once death occurs, no more food, sex, and laughs. No more anything, just a whole lot of nothing. Story 23. Leaving the people I love behind is something I don't want to contemplate. Thinking about my loved ones without someone to share in our small traditions feels unbearable. Who will play video games with my sister every week? What will my Dungeons and Dragons group do without their dungeon master? Who will go out every month with my best friend to get coffee and gossip? Who will watch horror movies with my mom? As someone who grapples with severe depression, and who might, on occasion, make offhand jokes about wanting to end my life with perhaps too serious a tone, it's these considerations that help to anchor me, I suppose. Story 24. The not knowing. If I knew what is next, I would be able to prepare. I would like to think that there is a heaven where I get to see the people I have lost. I would like to think they are happy up there somewhere. Story 25. The simple fact is that there's no way to tell what will happen. Despite the greatest minds humanity has ever seen saying, there can't be a God or afterlife, or some variation, they are guessing. Everyone is guessing until the time comes when we actually find out. Story 26. I think of death as going to sleep. It's just dark and it's over. No pain, no thoughts, just like a good night's sleep. The scariest part is never seeing your loved ones again, leaving them behind to fend for themselves, not being able to hold them when they have a bad day. Tell them it will be okay. The thought of what they are going through after losing me. Story 27. I'm more curious about the last trip your brain gives itself when we die. Scientists discovered that the brain is still active after a certain time of death. Like there's nothing, and suddenly the brain's electricity explodes with the last energy it has. It's interesting to find out one day, but not being able to talk about it after is kind of sad. Story 28. I'm honestly intrigued by what lies beyond, so I can't say I'm terrified of death itself. But like other users have said, dying is the scary part. Will I be crushed under rubble for several days and starve to death? Will I burn alive? Will I drown? Will I get memory loss issues and degenerate until I'm only a shell of my former self? I can only hope it's quick when it happens. Story 29. The fact that it can strike completely suddenly and unexpectedly. I mean, sure, there are plenty of things one can do to increase the chance of death, such as intentionally eating processed foods, not exercising, failing to brush one's teeth, or failing to get vaccines, or driving a car after drinking alcohol. And many people know that as one gets older, their chance of dying from a random illness rises. But it is possible for a person to appear completely fine on the outside, and then all of a sudden get a heart attack or stroke and their life ends. Or, for instance, before her death, my great-grandmother used to take post-lunch naps. They only lasted for about 2 hours, and then my grandmother would have dinner with her. On one random July afternoon, my great-grandmother lay down to take her post-lunch nap and never woke up again. My grandmother never even had the chance to say goodbye. Story 30. It is what happens after death that scares me. Specifically, the thought of being conscious but totally paralyzed and unable to scream. And for the rest of eternity, you are buried 6 feet under the ground. Story 31. Not being around to see how more of the story plays out, mine and everyone else's. Not being able to celebrate with loved ones when they have success, and not being able to be there as support when they fail or experience difficulty. The idea of having some unfinished matters to attend to or to apologize for. Story 32. The uncertainty of whether there will be anything or not afterwards, and the thought of everything, like the words I'm typing right now, being absolutely wiped from my memory along with my whole existence. Story 33. Leaving my children without a mother. My biggest fear after I had my first child was him somehow passing away. After I had my second, it shifted to my own passing because I'm so scared of leaving my babies behind. Story 34. I'm not afraid of death. My only worry is my dog. I've made arrangements if something happened to me, he would be loved and cared for. I trust this person. I just prefer being the guy who loves and cares for my little furry boy. Story 35. A painful process. Death itself doesn't scare me. I was fine before I got here and will be fine when I am gone. And of course, I will learn the great secret. Story 36. I don't fear death. I just hope I don't hurt my loved ones on the way out. I fear living too long. My great-grandfather was one of the smartest people I've ever met. His mind deteriorated before his body did, so he would stutter, slurring, and drool everywhere. I miss when he'd give me advice. I wish I had told him that I was looking forward to hearing it and didn't think of it as him being an old man. Story 37. Not terrifying, but it is sad to think that all my nice memories will be gone one day, and no one in the future will know the fun things and discussions I experienced with my loved ones. Story 38. That I will never see, feel, or talk to those I love again. Maybe I won't be able to notice it since I will stop existing, but thinking about that while being alive hurts quite a bit. Story 39. I'm not afraid. Too many people have been clinically dead and been revived. They tell stories of what they experienced. I've also been there for a short time. It was peaceful. What I am afraid of is my expiry date. I'm on borrowed time and my kids are still young. I made them promises when they were born, and I cannot break them. I will be there when they're grown, come hell or high water, and I will go when I'm good and ready, and not a moment before. Story 40. Nothing. Once I go, I am gone for good. We all come with our fates. I lost my dad when I was 8. I grew up. I moved on. We all do, and if someone doesn't, that too is part of life. Story 41. Probably just how I will either decay after death or be burned until it is just my crushed up bones. I do not like the idea of having maggots eat me or my flesh being burned off until it is just my bones.